Hello everybody, we have another game with the white pieces on our speed run against Kyle Williams, 89. He's rated 1360, so we're getting up there now. We're facing stronger and stronger opposition, and he opens up with the Sicilian defense. These first two moves should be familiar to you. You should have heard of the Sicilian defense before. So let's develop a piece and attack one of his. He hits our bishop. Our plan is to trade it for this knight to go d3, creating this pawn chain, and then f4, develop the knight and castle. Just a simple structure, something easy to play, easy to remember. So black develops his knight here towards the center. Makes sense. We always consider kicking to see if it's advantageous for us. In this case, it looks like he can jump into the center. So I don't see that being bad for him. So I'm going to keep that in my pocket and just continue with the plan and go f4 and knight development. Maybe in the future I can kick this knight, and when he goes in the center I can play knight e4 and there's some type of sequence, but maybe in the future. So he goes e6. This blocks the light square bishop and somewhat opens up the dark square. I feel like he should have played bishop here first with tempo and then put his pawn here so it's not blocked, because now he can't really get it out easily, but that's his problem. So okay, we can continue by developing our knight, the most simple logical move. And look at our position, very simple. All we did to get to this was give up our light square bishop just to get it out of the way. Okay, so he develops his dark square bishop to its only square, otherwise he'll get forked. Passive stuff, so let's just castle. Simple move, logical. Our rook looks good here. Now black castles, makes a lot of sense. Because we move the f pawn, this diagonal is always a thing. So I'm just going to take 1 second to go king h1. That way for the rest of the game I never have to worry about a bishop or queen on any of these squares. And I also have room for a rook here in case I ever want that for some reason. But it's really just because ultimate king safety, king h1. And now we're down on the clock, but okay, so he tries to sack the pawn to open the bishop, which is weird because then why did you put the pawn here to begin with? You could have sacked it in one turn. But now this is a free pawn, so we're definitely going to take that. If we take it with the knight, our knight's on a good square, but it doesn't really have forward prospects that look like they matter. If we take with the pawn, now we can dislocate his knight. I think I like that. It opens up our bishop, it opens up our rook, so that's good development for us, and it messes up the development of his best piece and best defender of the king. So, and wherever he goes, if he goes here, I'll just harass him further, I was going to say. And if he goes back, he's blocking the bishop. He goes forward, which doesn't create any threats, so I do have time to harass it if I want. Let's just harass it because now he only has this square. We could sack our bishop and open up his king. You also could leave his knight stranded here. It's all pretty reasonable. Do I want to do that? I mean, it's playable. It might not be best, but just for simplicity, takes. Queen up, attacking the pawn. If he goes here, we take the bishop. If he takes, we can take his queen. He takes back. Not my favorite. What? That's a free knight. He didn't move his knight. There's no way he thought this was better than knight h6. I mean, obviously he did, but that would be an incorrect evaluation. So now the knight is pinned. So let's just move our queen here and here. Now it's out of the pin, and we get to... Okay. So he's attacking the queen, defended by the queen, his own queen. But the knight's not pinned, so I can take it with either piece. I'm going to take with the queen because I'm up material, and I get to develop a new piece, bring it to a good square. Queen trade, and now I'm just up 2 pieces. How's this guy 1400? Like, why didn't he move his knight to h6? I don't understand. So what if I take? He's not checkmated or anything. So anyway, he moves his rook and attacks this. Let's bring out our last minor piece and just defend it. Okay, now he forks us, but the pawn is hanging. So let's just take it. Okay, so he gets to take this pawn, but he just lost a more important pawn. Ours was doubled. We were going to eventually lose it anyway, probably. Okay, so now he's hitting our bishop. Which way do we want to go? Probably here. F6 square looks like a nice dual purpose move, cutting off the king and hitting the rook. Maybe he'll try to attack the knight, but the knight's defended. Also, I'm just going to go g3 and king g2. g3 perma defends the knight, which can never be hit by a pawn, so the knight can stay here for the rest of the game if it felt like it. This knight is dominated here, so I need to just reroute it like this. And actually, since this king is in a weird box, if he doesn't move it out of it, I might be able to checkmate him at some point. We shall see. My food is on the way. Okay, so he attacks. I mean, he kind of just launches his pawns. This doesn't do anything. We want to move our knight anyway, so it doesn't really make sense. And now let's get active as possible. First, let's bring the rook in with tempo. That way we can double for free. Also get rid of this bishop, which stares into our position. And after the bishop moves, we also have ideas of pushing the pawn at some point. But for right now, let's keep it simple. And let's just double the rooks, so we don't have to think or calculate. Now this pawn is hanging once we move our dark square bishop. So he hits the knight. We were going to go this way. We might as well go this way, because it comes with a double threat. And it's just faster. Like it does. Now that my rook's here, it'll take extra turns. Okay, so he goes there, but this hangs a pawn with a tempo. It's for free. Okay, he's doing some crazy stuff. He's just hanging everything, which is ridiculous. He was hoping maybe I take and he goes for a queen, but it doesn't even work. So he resigns and moves 24. Okay, let's go over the game. Best move on move number 1. He plays the Sicilian. We develop a piece towards the center. We develop a piece and attack a piece that's controlling the center. Forced move, we have to move it or take. There's no reason to move it. If you put it here, I mean, you're probably going to take. So we take. And then center, development. Center and better development in the future. Development and center. King safety and development. Prophylaxis, king safety. Because at any moment, queen here, I mean, yes, now it's defended, but you know, 5 moves down, 10 moves down in every single line, in every single variation. You have to consider queen b6, queen d5, and if you ever play c5 or c4, which you should, bishop c5. So prophylaxis. And then free stuff. And then improving your position for free. And then he just blunders. Now, obviously he goes back. Or he's supposed to go back. This is already +3, which is crazy. Okay, so the best move is take, which is what I was gonna do. Okay, and then they do want you to follow up with the queen, like I was mentioning to you guys. And then here you could do a couple things, but this was the line I looked at. And again, you take, he takes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're up a pawn, but it's almost +3 because of the positional domination we have. He has these weak dark squares right here on b6, which is extremely vulnerable. He has weak dark squares on f6, h6, light squares, f5, h5, and my pieces can infiltrate on these squares and use them immediately. And so that gives me a huge advantage. But we didn't go down that line, and instead he decided to just hang this knight, so free stuff, and then we improve a piece. It wasn't forced, but it's still a good move. You can't really develop, you can develop e2, but that's not a good square for the queen because it's still very restricted. So we, putting it on g3 is a good square because it's kind of open around it. So we get out of the pin, improve a piece, and now free stuff. Okay, we develop towards the center, free stuff, and now forced move. It's also for free because it comes with threats. This is just an improving move. It's not necessary. You have options here, but you might as well. Improving a move for free. I mean, improving a piece. Improving a move. Okay, bringing in the last piece into the game. Move 21. Looking good. Forced move. Taking advantage of that weak square we mentioned earlier. Free stuff. Free stuff. And that's the game. Lots of development. Lots of king safety. And lots of free stuff. Wasn't really anything else. One forcing threatening move for free, but pretty simple otherwise. Okay, this is how one way to play against the Sicilian. If the Sicilian bothers you, I mean, there's lots of different Sicilians, but against this variation where they just put the knight behind the c pawn, you can give this a shot. It keeps in line with the bishop's opening d6, pawn on d6, pawn on f4 structure. So actually, let me just point that out. This. So even though it's a different opening, it keeps that similar pawn structure, so it kind of keeps you in the same theme. Worth a shot. Anyway, hopefully this helps. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Link below. Good luck.